to understand the sentiments of one another and to respect them, and to adopt an attitude of sympathy by rising above concepts of sectarianism and linguisticism, is the basis of universal brotherhood. The love of nation and country is a good quality because thereby one always remains ready to serve and protect one's country. It never means that one should nurse grudge and prejudice against the members of other nations or countries. All the individuals belonging to all the countries and nations are brethren amongst themselves, being the offspring of Adam. There can be a difference of color and race among these brethren, but if one nurses grudge and ill will against a brother simply on the ground that he belongs to other nationality or to some other country, then such a nationalism and parochialism uproots universal brotherhood. Human beings gets involved into hatred, scorn, enmity, and wars. Tony B thinks that human race should either become one family or should become extinct. The development of consciousness of humanity as one nation is real life. National prejudice can lead the world to destruction, whereas feelings of brotherhood and fraternity develop feelings of equality among all human beings, irrespective of their race or religion. War, enmity, jealousy, prejudice, hatred, contempt, terrorism, and extremisms are the sure path towards extinction of the human race. The sense of universal brotherhood is the sense of loving one another. It is the sense of the superiority of human principles, establishing balance among the nations, development of human race, and the sense of the need for a better society for humankind. Today, the most rare commodity in the world is universal brotherhood, where there may be no discrimination amongst human beings. The difference of race and color is geographical. This difference is because of seasons and distances. Otherwise, human beings of the whole world are alike. Therefore, the efforts and talents of all the human beings should be directed towards peace, unity, and reconciliation. God has endowed human beings with the wealth of understanding, wisdom, and intelligence, which demands that human race should make progress in every sphere of life and should develop courage to face the worldly difficulties. But unfortunately, it is not so. That is the reason why human problems go on increasing. Sometimes the fear of world wars are hovering in their minds, and sometimes hunger and poverty keep on spreading in poor countries. Everywhere there is a state of disturbance. This is all because we have forgotten the lesson of universal brotherhood. In order to keep the sense of universal brotherhood alive, it is necessary that one should develop the sentiments of goodwill for the members of other nations and countries, and should use it wherever he gets the opportunity. It is necessary to understand that there is some purpose of creation of the human being. The power and intelligence that God has given to us should be used for betterment and welfare of humanity. Pains, problems, and pressures must be ended. Those who are parents ought to treat their children compassionately. The teacher ought to impart positive and active knowledge to the taught. They should teach them the lesson of love, sacrifice, and living together so that they might be able to maintain the balance between their words and actions. The ruler should try sincerely to solve the problems and difficulties of his people on a large scale as far as it can. Exactly, instead of making use of grudge, malevolence, prejudice, jealousy, and narrow mindedness, they should adopt brotherhood, sympathy, tolerance, and broad mindedness. Due consideration may be given to the solution of mutual problems on whatever level they might be. If we consider these things from elementary stage to the highest level, universal brotherhood is bound to emerge. A human being will be respected for other human beings. It should be obligatory to protect the honor, life, and property of a human being without any distinction. What do you mean by universal brotherhood? Universal brotherhood is to respect everyone as descendants of Adam and Eve and not be confined to one's own customs and traditions. To understand the sentiments of one another and to respect them. To adopt an attitude of sympathy by rising above concepts of sectarianisms and linguisticism. And to realize oneself as a global citizen, then being part of a community or nation. What is the difference between universal brotherhood and nationalism? Universal brotherhood is based on the fact that we all are offspring of Adam and Eve. On the other hand, nationalism separates humans due to geographical locations, seasonal and cultural differences. A base for universal brotherhood is being global citizens, whereas nationalists appreciate their own part and use all means just to make their geographical boundary rich and secure. Universal brotherhood will help end the hate and hate crimes, whereas nationalism supports and causes hate and hate crimes. Universal brotherhood is a source of the union of all human beings, and nationalism is for division based of different reasons. What are the four merits of universal brotherhood? The sense of universal brotherhood is the sense of loving all human beings. Once we become part of a universal brotherhood, human life, respect, and property will become important, and we will rise above the division that humans have made. If each human being is respected and loved, then society will progress in growing food and providing the necessities of life. The fights, cheating, and selfishness will be reduced and slowly finished. What should we do to keep alive the sense of universal brotherhood? In order to keep the sense of universal brotherhood alive, it is necessary that we should develop the sentiments of goodwill for humanity. Use the power and intelligence that God has given for betterment and welfare of humanity. We should end prejudice and jealousy and promote sympathy and tolerance. What is the end of the nations that do not understand the importance of universal brotherhood? Universal brotherhood is the source of keeping all humans as one. If some nation does not become part of this universal brotherhood, it will not take part in the progress of humanity. It will overlook the matters of common good, for example, pollution or polio issues. Sometimes nursing grudge and ill will against other nationalities can harm universal brotherhood and its efforts for common well being.